Welcome to Wandering the Isles. I'm Andy Farnsworth. These are happenings out in the world, spontaneous conversational films. This episode I recorded it quite a while ago. I was still in New York. It was on the Staten Island Ferry with Mr. Tim Duffy. He writes for Comedy Central's Social. He's the guy in those science videos with the little white lab coat. At Tim Duffy is his handle. He always changes his Twitter names, though. I love his Twitter names. I think his current label is Taco Bell and Sebastian, trademark. Tim takes the ferry every day from Staten Island to the city, to his job, and then back. And to someone like me, that's super novel. To someone like him, it's just being on the Dan Ryan Expressway in traffic. And you can drink. I guess you can drink on the Dan Ryan, but it's a little higher, a little bit more of a high wire act. Why the hell am I airing an episode recorded in July, like 3 years ago, on Valentine's Eve? No real good reason other than this definitely needs to go out there because it was a really, really good moment. And I'm going to get into some relationship stuff here later, maybe out of context. We talk about that a little. His status changed a bit since we recorded. Oh, and we're starting in Battery Park. You might recognize the sea glass carousel music. I'd love to play a lot of it, but I think there's some kind of copyright thing. Also, the audio is a little tricky, because there's just this rumble of the ferry. So let's just kind of get into this one and see where it takes us. Can I ask you, are you able to have pleasure in public? Like for example, at the airport, they have those massage chairs.
Yeah.
And the people lay in their faces in the thing, and they get a back rub. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to do that. I haven't ever had what I would call a successful massage.
Really?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, man.
The one time, I think people have tried to give me massages like 3 times. And one time I was doing volunteer work after Sandy, and so somebody was just there doing that.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, "Oh, you got to do it." And all I could think about was, I'm sweaty, I smell. Why is this happening now?
Yeah, that's true.
It smells like so much pee right here.
Should we move?
Yeah.
I couldn't even smell it.
You're a lucky man.
Urine doesn't bother me.
Oh, I don't like it.
Now serving beer! Exclamation point,
but they're not
says the sign.
Currently serving.
No, they're not.
Beer. This place was serving beer. Now there's a bar downstairs. There's a bar upstairs.
Yeah.
There's 3 separate stands that serve beer upstairs. So I think it's just market saturation.
They want the people on the... I should clarify that we're sitting... What is this? This is Staten
Island Ferry terminal outside area, seating area.
And they really want to make sure people have access to beer. It's available on the ferry.
Yeah, definitely. Available on the ferry, available cheaper before the ferry.
Really?
Yeah, there's a stand as you're walking into the ferry. As we walk in, there's a stand to the left. And they have a pretty good selection. You can get a gigantic Bud on tap in a big plastic cup for $5, or you can get like a nice tall boy of Brooklyn or whatever.
Yeah.
For $5. So
nice.
That's my guy. He sees me and he'll, if I'm coming home like now, because I don't have a show, he'll be like, "Oh, early night." and then he also sees me on the 11:30s and the 12s and the 1s and stuff.
Same guy?
Yeah, it seems to be.
Do you know his name?
He doesn't know my name. But I'm not wearing a name tag.
So you want to keep it that way, maybe?
I like it. He's probably my favorite bartender because we don't know anything about each other. There's no baggage. Except that he knows that I drink almost every day.
Yeah, that's both very intimate and very anonymous at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah. Huh. What do you see on this thing?
What do I see on the boat?
Yeah, you've been doing it for years, right?
Yeah. I've been taking the boat. I went to a commuter college starting in 2000.
Yeah.
So I've been taking the boat for 16 years almost every day.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
How many, like, so that would adds up into probably like a year of life or something.
Yeah, I think if they did the math, it would be pretty wild.
Who's they? Who's they?
The mathematicians?
The people
math
studying
people.
Tim's...
My biographer?
Do you ever think about having one? Be honest.
I don't. I think I've written jokes to the extent of like, you're having a bad life if they're considering David Fincher for the biopic.
Is it time?
It is time.
It's at 7:40.
It's 7:37. We're good. I mean, it's...
I would like to hear as we travel any tips that you may have for how you approach the boat. Where do you go?
Oh yeah.
What do you look out for?
I have all that stuff. You're gonna be an old pro.
Okay.
By the end of this. I have, speaking of the seeing people, the ferry terminal is the one place where I try and see people before they see me. And that is to avoid having conversations on the boat.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've lived on Staten Island my entire life. And as a result, I know a lot of people.
And you're locked in.
And you're locked in for 25 minutes on one of these conversations. I mean, I created like a good system where people sort of know not to bother me. Everybody knows I'm not interested in the conversation. But
you can't, I have never been able to pull this off where I'm like, I just don't feel like talking right now.
Oh, I give them a wave and I walk.
But once you've engaged...
We did this. We're good.
We're good?
Yeah.
Do these have a name?
Yes, they all have names.
What is this? You don't know?
We are getting on the newest one, which is either the Molinari or the Spirit of America. Molinari was the borough president of Oh, this is the Marquis, not Molinari.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, and then one is called the Spirit of America because these ones were licensed after 9/11, and everybody was feeling real America happy.
Yeah.
So because we were cutting it close, because we were so lost in captivating conversation, I'm gonna walk and get a beer.
Okay.
From the concession stand. Now I have two modes here. Usually on the way back, I like this corner right here.
Yeah.
But it's loaded now, so I'm gonna go downstairs, which is usually a little more empty.
Okay.
Probably better for podcasting as well.
Okay. It's probably too loud outside, isn't it?
Yeah, the wind is crazy.
It's crazy. This will be good. I'm getting your beer.
Yeah. Would you like a?
I think I'm good. I would, but that might be the last time we see each other.
What do you mean?
I haven't drank for like 5 years.
Oh, Jesus, I didn't realize that. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Look at that wallet.
Oh, yeah. Simpsons, baby. It's beaten up, though. It's one of those Tyvek wallets.
This is the wallet of you're married, right?
I'm not married. I do have a girlfriend.
I always think that you have a...
Probably because you've only known me since I've been dating one person. It's fair enough.
Yeah. You guys have been together for a while?
3 years? A little over 3, probably. Yeah.
And you're on the island?
Yeah, she's right around the corner from me.
That's common law marriage, I think.
I mean, essentially. It's good, though, because she still lives with her folks to save money. And they have cable, and I'm a cord cutter. It's much easier to cut the cord when you can go somewhere and watch stuff on DVR.
So to jump in, I wanted to check in with Tim because it's been a minute since we recorded this, and I wanted to see, oh man, I wonder if they're still together. So I texted him. He said, yeah, we moved in a year and a half ago together. And I'm kind of considering what that would look like. I'm 41 years old. I've never lived with anybody, and it's kind of on my radar now. Like, I'm in a relationship, and, it's new, but I'm thinking about it. And, I think she thinks I'm a bit of a feral animal, and I am a little bit Peter Pan. And so I said to Tim, I said, man, can you give me any tips or whatever? And I thought this was profound. And he said, it's good to, obviously give each other space, but I've never heard anyone really say this before. Give each other room to be the version of themselves they've always been at home. Like, it can be messy, but people deserve that comfort. I don't know. I think that's interesting. Give them the comfort, to just be neurotic in their own way or whatever. I'm recording in a closet, so I don't know what that would look like. I got my own little quirks. I leave the cabinet doors open. That's the least of my problems, but that's kind of a metaphor, I think, for how I live in my space. I don't know why. I just don't. It's not finished. For some reason, if I pull a plate out of the cabinet, for some reason, I don't want to say goodbye to all the other plates and bowls. It seems cruel. Like, I let the light in, and they all got to see the world, and now I'm shutting the door again. Goodbye. And I also like to see the inventory. It kind of shows I'm working. It's hard for me to talk about this stuff because some of you have probably been in relationships for like 20 years. You're married, you have kids. The things I'm deliberating are long in the past, perhaps, for you. But this is Andy's journey. We're all in our own time zone. So, back to the boat, as Tim calls it. The boat's moving, I should say. I just noticed. Here we go.
May I have your attention, please? Welcome aboard the Staten Island Ferry. Please take a moment and pay attention to the following safety announcements. During docking, stay off the stairs, ramps, and landings until the ferry has come to a complete stop at the terminal. Failure to do so could result in serious injury. In case of an emergency, listen for announcements and instructions from the crew. Please familiarize yourself with the location of life jackets on this ferry. They are located in marked lockers and bins along the cabin walls. See instructions for their use, which are posted in red frames throughout the ferry. For assistance, see uniformed crew members located on each deck. Thank you for riding the Staten Island Ferry.
So,
do you have that memorized?
I can sometimes recite it. Different boats have slightly different ones. That's the newest one. Did you ever hear that thing? I always think about it when people talk about like announcements like that. On the New York subway, women give information and a man gives direction. Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Yeah.
And then it's like, now entering Whitehall Street.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing.
Oh, yeah, that is weird. Yeah. Do you think that's on purpose?
Oh, I think there's got to be a thought behind it.
Yeah. Stand clear of the closing doors, please. It's very...
Yeah, that voice is a little bit more authoritative than...
Yeah. It's a man who's seen some people who haven't stood clear of the closing doors.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, downstairs is really... It's kind of the place to be because it's just... There's less people.
Yeah.
Especially as the summer rolls along. The upstairs and stuff, they get swamped with tourists. People who don't want to pay to go see the Statue of Liberty, so they just go past it.
They just ride so do you think this is the locals mostly down in the bottom? Steerage? This is
definitely people who commute. And you can tell, like, you get into a crowd, like if you get here early for the boat and you get right up to you get in the crowd that goes on, it's like herding cattle. And it's just like, there are some people who know what they're doing and they're bobbing and weaving around people.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of people who just like walk en masse towards some slaughter of some sort.
Has one of these ever sunk? I wonder?
No. I was on one that crashed.
You were?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, a lot of people died.
You were on one that...
I was, but I was on the third floor of that one. So I didn't see anything. I felt it. It sort of made an incredible like sound. It ran into some dock, that like some debris dock that was like a little ways away from the where it actually stops, and it like really like slow motion ripped a hole in the boat, and the whole boat went up on its side and then flopped back down when the weight like broke the dock. And that bottom floor, there were, I think, 11 people died. People became like paraplegics. People lost all of their limbs and stuff. But I didn't see any of that because I was upstairs with my big headphones on, listening to music. And I thought, and it was like 2002, and or maybe 2003, and I was very cynical at that point, having commuted through 9/11 and stuff. And I was like, everybody's freaking out. It was just a little turbulence, no big deal. And then it was like 40 minutes before we were able to get off the boat, and I ran because I had work at a store. And I was like, sorry, I'm late. There was a problem with the boat. And my boss was like, you were on that boat? And like the radio was going crazy with news about it.
The thing didn't like sink?
It didn't sink.
How did these people get hurt?
Well, it ripped a hole in the bottom floor of the boat. I mean, the pictures are crazy. You'll look at them and you'll be like, I'm surprised more people.
I'll look it up. Is there I mean, you can find it, obviously. But,
yeah, sure.
But
I just want to hear your reaction since you're...
Okay. I'm kind of depressed today. I'm sorry. You're not getting,
no, it's okay.
You're not getting manic Andy.
Well, it's just one part of the manicness.
You're right. Oh my gosh! So I'm looking at this. Well, I'll post this on the episode. It's just ripped. The whole side of the boat's just ripped.
Yeah.
Oh boy! What year was that? 2002?
It was 2003. Yeah, October 2003. So.
I laughed. One of the hardest things I've ever laughed at in New York was this moment when you were talking about, I don't even know if it's a joke of yours, but the shirt that you had on, you said something about how your wife girlfriend likes to buy you pictures of shirts.
Oh yeah, so that was a bit I was doing for a little bit. It was a taco shirt. A shirt with little tacos on it. And I love the shirt, and she loved the shirt. And she said, why don't you get we can order a bunch of shirts, like things with like cheeseburgers and pizza and sandwiches. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. And then I was like, oh no, she wants me to just be the fat guy who wears fatty t-shirts. Put him in his fatty uniform and nobody will ever go near his penis.
Yeah, and you said something too about how you just... Something about you saying you like to wear shirts. You said something about I like to wear shirts with food on them.
Yes,
it was the most simple, declarative joke I think I've ever laughed at.
It's not even a joke.
No, it's just a statement.
It's just a statement.
Yeah. What are we looking at here, Tim? We're looking out.
I think this is
We're on the base floor of the ferry.
Yeah,
I should say.
This is Jersey, I believe.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. And the other way would be Brooklyn.
We got some barges.
Wait,
there's the Verrazano. No, I think that's Brooklyn.
Oh, this is Brooklyn. Yeah. So I have a terrible sense of direction, and I can't distinguish buildings that are landmarks.
Well, I wouldn't know. That doesn't look like Brooklyn.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like Red Hook.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
So it wouldn't look fully Brooklyn-y.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what that is.
And then we got some cargo ships. Just like everything in New York, you have to stand in line. So even the ships have to like stand in line.
Yeah, they're all in lines. I think that's an interesting thing. Sometimes this will get delayed, and that guy that you heard at the top will come. We are being temporarily delayed for harbor traffic, which is always an interesting moment.
Have you ever seen just a body floating?
No. Spalding Gray's body?
Oh, yeah.
Did you know he jumped off the Staten Island Ferry? Spalding Gray, storyteller.
Yeah. But no, I thought he... What?
He jumped off the Staten Island Ferry.
Dude, I heard he just shipped off in a little boat.
Nope, jumped off.
But they couldn't find him forever, right? Wasn't that the story?
I think it was a late night boat. Maybe not too late because it wouldn't have had outdoor access. But if you could do it, you could jump off this boat and never be seen. If you were, not like a big dude and you knew exactly, you like had a clean break, it didn't hit any part of the boat, I think you could easily kill yourself and not have anybody know. Not that I'm recommending anybody do this.
Tragic tales of the harbor with Tim Duffy.
Yeah, it's
and he's got the beard.
Fun podcast. Hey, I like that one where everybody died on the boat.
I love that. That'd be a great podcast. Tales of the ferry, like the fairy tales. We're docking already?
Yeah, 25 minutes. It's cool. We'll walk, and there's a place we can sit by the boat. Because I'm actually going to a show in an art space in the ferry terminal.
Oh, right.
June and Manny's show.
Oh, no.
June Chung.
Oh, yeah, I know who he is.
Him and Manny run a stand-up show in a little art space. Cool. So we'll walk upstairs through a crowd of people, and then we'll go sit outside by the 9/11 memorial.
It's a huge boat.
Yeah, there's like big oil tankers. You'd be amazed. It's kind of crazy to think, like, we still haven't reached a point. There's no alternative to shipping things like fuel and stuff.
Yeah.
You won't do it on a plane.
No.
Because it's so flammable. So they still do it by these big freighters.
What a job. Can you imagine? People have these jobs where they're like cooks on those things. I've heard people make great money. Like, I knew a guy who was like a barge cook.
But they're away for like months at a time.
Yeah. That's why they get paid They get paid crazy. I didn't know him. I should need to clarify, but I knew of a guy who like was thinking of it. I just want to talk about the position. There's really no authenticity in my experience of it. That's a huge container. We're looking at this one of those giant cargo ships that's like just stacked to the brim.
And that's the other thing. They are like stacked to the brim. They're these big pallets.
Yeah.
Just all like Tetrised in there.
Do you think there's people in there, any of those? Some refugees?
Refugees.
You know there's some contraband on that boat. You know it. Come on.
Oh yeah, you know it. I used to work logistics for a restaurant, and we would fill out customs forms to get stuff into our affiliates in like Russia and Dubai and like other countries. And with Russia, you always had this thing where they'd like call back and they'd be like, "Oh, it says that it weighs this much, but it weighs a little bit less. So you guys are going to have to pay a fine on that."
Yeah.
And it's like, your people are obviously stealing stuff.
Yeah.
From the car. This is a racket. But we would always eventually just pay it.
You're paying a fine for people stealing from you.
Yes.
Boy, that's a double fist.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this one's bigger than that one.
This is kind of a beautiful one. I don't know what this looks like. A natural gas. I think that's a natural gas tanker. It's got a lot of accoutrements.
I love you just speculating.
I just feel like that the King Everest is a natural gas tanker. Don't you think there's wire? No, there's like
you can
pipes.
read the King Everest?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Wow, you got.
I just got them
good
fixed.
glasses. Oh, okay.
You know what's but this was round 2. I went to a guy and he screwed it up. It's a nightmare. You think you're going crazy.
They're good looking glasses.
Thank you. Have you ever, you don't wear any?
I don't wear glasses. I had 20/20 vision. I don't think I do anymore. I'm starting, like, I can't read that.
Yeah, it says King Everest. And it's, I'm pretty sure it's a gas. I'm going to say it's a gas. Oil. No, not oil. Natural gas. You don't believe me? I have no...
It's not that it's nothing to believe. It's like, clearly you're guessing. Your guess is as good as mine.
You know what's the worst when you're having an argument with somebody and they say, "No, trust me." And you're like, "No, I don't get to trust. It's not a trust issue.
Right.
You're just making shit up." You know what I mean? Also, people who say, "I read somewhere," who are constantly doing that. I actually am one of them. But when you finally call them out, you're like, "Oh yeah, really, Nathan? Where?"
Who is Nathan?
Nathan's some guy from my freshman year of college.
That's funny. I like that.
Do you ever just feel like cattle?
Often.
I do too. New York makes me feel like cattle. You grew up here, so you were born to be cattle.
I'm also fast.
What a beautiful fucking sunset, man.
I think this.
Yeah.
It's nice talking to you.
You too, man. I haven't seen you in a while. And you always put me on your shows, and I appreciated it.
Yeah.
Especially when I first got here, I was like, nobody. I didn't know anybody. Well, thanks to Tim Duffy, at Tim Duffy on Twitter. Yeah, it was a while ago, but when do you get to hear a podcast with somebody who was on the Staten Island Ferry when a bunch of people died? When do you hear a podcast on the Staten Island Ferry? That's what I want to know. Look, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Perhaps a day of reckoning for some. A day of hope. Maybe you're newly in love. Maybe you're at that slow simmer. Maybe you're thinking about cutting it off. You've just been putting it off every year. You know, I've been called out recently on how pessimistic I am about relationships. And it's really, it never occurred to me. I make, jokes all the time about, essentially beneath every snide comment I make about relationships is there's fear. They all end. I don't want one to end. Maybe that's the fear beneath it. So there's that little bit of a wall. But have you experienced trying to talk to people about, like, if you're excited about somebody? One of my early memories is, don't get your hopes up. That was often the refrain I got, which, it was like to keep me from getting disappointed. That instills a kind of doom or dread around relationships. Makes you feel shame if you're excited. Makes me feel that way. But I'm working on it, and I'm happy to be working on it with somebody. I don't really know how to conduct myself in the world with a relationship. Balance is an issue. I just want to come home every night and FaceTime with her. We'll just sit there and look at each other for like 5 hours. It's pretty great. I don't know, we did yoga over FaceTime, which I highly recommend. Well, I probably shouldn't be talking about this stuff, but hey, here's to us, here's to everybody, here's to hope, compassion, kindness, listening. That's the thing you're supposed to do. Listen, magnetize. It's weird how I'm noticing just sometimes people they just want some encouragement. So, hey, I think you're doing pretty well if you're hanging on. It's a tough grind here. Love is tricky. Stick around next week. Give me some love on Patreon if you can. Write us a review on iTunes. Tell your friends. Namaste.